Okay, we're going to have a quick look at pressure relief valves and how to stop them dripping, or how to stop them letting water out of the central heating system. First thing is, how do you know if your pressure relief valve is going or is leaking? These always pipe to an outlet pipe outside. If there's a pipe coming out behind the boiler and it's dripping constantly, most likely this is what it is. Don't get me wrong, high level pipes are usually overflow pipes from cylinders and things like that, but what we're doing is looking at when the pressure drops on the boiler continuously and there's a drip from the pipe outside behind it. This is most likely what it is. Now, what does it do? Basically, this is a pressure relief valve, and what you've got in there is you've got the tube sticking out with a little rubber washer with a spring behind it. So the spring pushes the rubber washer against the little tube here and stops the water coming out. When the pressure gets high enough, it pushes it back and it sends the water down and out. So that's there. Spring in here, washer in here, seat in there, water can come out this way. This is off a Worcester Bosch. Now this isn't likely to be the one that you see. What you're likely to see is one that's got a sort of domed head like that, and I'm drawing this a bit badly, little head like that with little lines down it like that. So the head here is likely to look like a little red sort of dome like that with little lines running down it, and usually written on the top up here is 3 bar. Anyway, they're all pretty much the same, pressure relief valve. This one is easier to work on. Right, so to clean one of these out, essentially this is all it is. It's a spring with a piece of rubber, so it's like a tap, but it doesn't open, it only opens under pressure. They always open, they always unscrew, like so. They unscrew from the main base. Now that makes it look easy, doesn't it, like that? We'll look at getting them open in a minute. But yeah, now in most instances you're going to discover that you can't actually access them this way. This one especially, the most common type, you're going to find that this plastic red piece actually covers all of it like that, so that you can't even get anything in to unscrew the body. And when you turn the red piece, what it does is it lifts the spring away, so it pulls the spring and the washer away, so it goes click and it just goes click 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 as you turn it, which is lifting the spring, pulling the spring away and opening the valve. Now obviously if you're going to mess with this, you need to make sure the system's drained, but it's really convenient because you're at the pressure relief valve, opening it, you can drain the system until it's empty. So if you wedge it open until the system is empty, you're fairly confident that you can actually then open it without loads of water coming out. The other type, you turn. This type, you turn, and what it does then is it's the same thing. You can turn it until it stays open. It's quite a careful process to do, but turn it until it stays open and let the system drain, because you've also got the pipe running to outside to let the water out. Convenient. So we're looking at getting it open. Now, the other type, the type that I wish I had to show you, but don't, I'm afraid. I'm just going to demonstrate with this piece of paper. What it does is the red cap covers like that, okay? So you can't even see the piece to undo there. And you'll keep turning this, it just goes click, 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 and nothing happens. So the trick to getting those open is what you do is you get your grips, and you just squeeze the edge of the red plastic there. So you just catch it. You just make sure you're not catching the brass, but you just catch the very bottom of the red plastic, squeeze it in so as it touches the internal piece, and then you can get it open. Okay, inside one of these, there's not much to it. What you've got is your seat, your little piece that it seats onto, that little ring down there. You've got the spring and the rest of it, and then you've got this little top hat. Now you've always got this little top hat. This, by the way, is some form of sealing washer. You need to leave that in the right place. This is spring loaded, obviously, so that's what holds the washer against it. But what you're looking at doing to stop them leaking is you're looking at cleaning that seat there and cleaning this. Now they're really not difficult to clean. You can do this with some hot running water and some soap. What you're looking for is you'll see where it's been sitting. You'll see where the PRV's actually, sorry, the piece of rubber's been sitting on that groove there. And if you look around it, you can actually see whether you've got any defects on it. So if you've got like a chip or a little depression in it, you can see, but mostly you haven't. And mostly these will be covered with some sort of scaly deposit. And what's happened is it's opened at some point, this has lifted and then not gone back, and what it's done is a piece of the scale has jammed between the rubber and the seat. So all you do is you just get that under the tap, get that under the tap, get it cleaned out. Obviously I'm not going to bother too much now. Check it for imperfections, and you can get them clean you can get them clean quite quickly. Don't worry about splits around here really, because there is a split there. It will leak out here when you open it, but it won't stop it from actually sealing. Once you got this clean and checked it, all you do then, and my favourite way, is just with a screwdriver, just gently scrape the rim of that, the seating rim of it. You'll usually find that whatever deposits are on there are quite hard, and they just chip off really easily just with a light scratch. You don't want to, it's obviously brass so it's quite soft, you don't want to hit it too hard, you don't want to affect it, you don't want to sort of mark it, but what you do, just go around and just clean it out like that, and then maybe flush it with a little bit of water, and you can actually then get the seat of that back into a really good condition really quickly. So just look around it and check to make sure there's no sort of divots in it or areas where that seat is damaged, and usually there's not. And then put it back together. All you're doing is you just, even with the other type where you can't, where it's, the type where it's covered, even with that type, putting it back together is really easy, because you're sort of screwing with it, so you're not screwing against it, so that little red cap will let it tighten down no problem. So you just get hold of the red cap and screw it back into place. Okay, some tricks. If a PRV's leaking, dripping, just snapping it to get it to slam that rubber washer back down onto the seat. So if there's a little piece of scale in the way, what that'll do is it can smash it out, or it can crush it, so that then it can seat properly. The same with the type that turn. You just turn so it goes click, 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 as it raises that spring away and drops it back each time. So what it's doing is it's actually slamming that top of that top hat down onto that seat. So if there was a little piece of debris in there, it just bashes it out of the way, or crushes it up, and there you go. The other types, I say, you can just turn them, and that turning action lifts the seat and then drops it back down. Lifts the seat and drops it back. Lifts the rubber and drops it back down. There's no adjustment needed. There's nothing. These don't really break down in terms of adjustment. It's very unlikely in that instance. It's always crap in that seat down there. Now, other things that are worth mentioning are these blow off at 3 bar. So if your pressure is at 3 bar, it's going to be blowing off. It's don't think that that's what it shouldn't be doing. You don't think it's leaking at that point. If it's at 3 bar and it's pouring out, then it's doing its job correctly. Anything else worth mentioning? I suppose some of these, for example, on a Megaflow are at a higher pressure, but the principle is still the same. The only type you can't take apart are the type that are a temperature and pressure relief. But you'll know that because it'll say it on them. Usually they give an indication of the pressure. In this instance, it does. You can just see at the top there, 3 bar, it says there. So there we are. Quick, cheap and easy to do. And also quite safe to deal with, because under most circumstances you can drain the system from the valve itself. So you can drain it from here, so you don't need a hose pipe or anything like that. So you can just drain it out of the boiler or the system you've got, drain it down, and then take it off and work on it from there. There we are, guys. Hope that helps.